Welcome back to the 2017 Bank of America Chicago Marathon. We're going to head right out to Carrie Tullison. Looks like Tirunesh Dibaba's in a race by herself here, Carrie.
She's all alone now. She's at least 20 seconds up, and she looks great. You know, in London, this was the spot where she had some stomach issues, and I think Tim can speak more to this, but she actually had to stop, try to relieve herself. She was having issues there, but now she looks good. She looks great. Doesn't look like she's attacking a pace, though. You know, you can clearly see, and she can see the pace truck has her time. It says 2:18:27 for a projected finish. She's not looking past our motor vehicle. She's looking at the ground, and she's just looking at winning, it looks like right now. So if she's trying to set a record, she needs to pull it together here. We just passed 22 miles, and she needs to start attacking. Like Todd talked about the track race, you know, if she wants to use her track skills here, this is when she needs to do it.
She's running out of road, though, in which to attack Paula Radcliffe's, get Paula Radcliffe's course record of 2:17:18. You know, in London, splits were very, very disproportionate. Really quick first half, much slower second half. Today is more even, but she's probably going to be slower than London.
Look at this. On the men's side, we got Galen Rupp in the lead for the first time. Less than 3 miles to go. And this is a killer move. This is a knockout move right now. He's trying to put this away. Yes, right? He's been waiting. He has a superior track speed. He's more than a minute faster than Karui is for 10K, 45 seconds faster on a 5K. This is a knockout blow right now we're watching.
You think Karui looks like he sees it, looks like he knows it. It's almost like he's trying to catch him. And Rupp looks good.
You know, I'm going to go out there. Sorry, Seth. I'm going to go out there and say, I don't know what these guys expected. You know, you've got the guy who is the fastest 10,000-meter runner of about the last 6 years in the race with you. We know he's in fantastic shape. He's an Olympic medalist. He was second in Boston. He said Alberto said yesterday, he's actually found his 3 marathons so far pretty easy. He hasn't won them all, but he's found them pretty easy. Alberto said he's in much, much better shape than he was before Boston. In Boston, he had 2 cortisone jabs a fortnight before the race. He nearly pulled out. He had 2 cortisone jabs into his foot. His preparation for this has been supreme, and he was very, very strong. He was ready for something much faster, but it was just going to be fast in the last 4 or 5 miles. He's ready for that as well.
Is there any chance they did not know everything you just said?
No, they got to have done their homework.
And that 23rd mile, he just threw down 4 minutes and 31 seconds, and that is why we have a gap between he and Abel Karui that seems to be growing with every stride.
He really does. You called this one, Tim. I mean, he really does look like he's in his element. Like, this is where he's comfortable.
Well, what I'm interested to see here now, I mean, I sat with Alberto in his bedroom yesterday for about half an hour talking about Galen Rupp, and one thing he talked about was Galen Rupp's arm carriage. He said Galen has changed the way he carries his arms. He has them closer to his chest now, and that saves energy, and it's what most of the Africans do anyway, and they've worked out that actually saves energy from the normal arm running carriage.
We want to head out to Todd Williams, who is right there with the leader. Todd.
All I can say is wow. I mean, when he made the break and he looked so comfortable. I mean, Ed, we talked to him yesterday, for a long period of time, and he said, this is the best buildup I've ever had. But these guys knew it was coming. We just passed mile 24. He went 440, 431. Now he's back on 435. I mean, it's nonstop, and he looks great doing it. So there's no doubt in my mind that this preparation was amazing. But I'm just really surprised that the rest of the field didn't do something much earlier.
I mean, credit to Abel Karui, Todd, mind you, because sorry, Abel Karui in the background still battling away and looking pretty strong.
That's it, exactly. I think as soon as the move was made, he's keep fighting and fighting and fighting.
He looks like he's fighting, but Galen does not. I have to give you credit, Tim. You called this right from the beginning. You said that you thought that he would be the one to watch and he could be the one to win. And you have called it. I'd like to take this moment to point out that he's from my hometown of Portland, Oregon.
I mean, nothing Alberto said is, his training has not just been very consistent, but it's been exactly what he wanted. He's had 7 runs of 25 miles. Galen actually said he did one run of 27 miles. So he liked the idea of going slightly further than a marathon psychologically in training. But he's hit he ticked all the boxes in his training. His track sessions have been fantastic. His tempo runs have been fantastic. He lifts weights twice a week with Jordan Hasse. They don't leave any stone unturned.
And Ed, we talked about the altitude issue before. You said normally someone like him might train at altitude. He didn't do that, but he did also talked about how a couple of rooms in his home are set to altitude. So he's used to, they're training in a very specific, very calculated way.
Right. In years past, he's come up to Utah to do his altitude component, but but he has basically converted his home into an altitude chamber. He spends most of his time in there. He runs on a treadmill many times, does many miles at altitude, and certainly he is getting that benefit right now. And it's interesting as you contrast the styles. Galen Rupp looks so comfortable running at this pace, whereas Abel Karui is all over the place, just digging down and getting dropped with each continuous stride that goes through. And he has certainly prepared himself, has Galen Rupp, for this, and now just has to hold on for the last less than 2 miles at this point.
What's Galen thinking at this point in time?
Well, I think he's feeling, he is thinking that he just needs to maintain his form, keep things rolling. He is now running at a pace that is certainly sub 450 pace, and just needs to keep that rhythm going. And as he does so, he continues to open up the distance.
He ran mile 23 in 4:31. He's just run mile 24 in 4:30. I mean, he is so zoned in, so focused here. He might take a little peek over his shoulder occasionally, but that gap actually to last year's champion Abel Kirui is growing. He's a tiny dot in the distance. But suddenly from about 70 yards, it's grown to about 150 yards.
It's amazing how both of the runners in this race, men's and women's, who you thought would be the favorites, have both just pulled away from their competition.
And what is interesting, Galen was saying yesterday to me that, you know, he feels that track races are, you're in pain for the last 2 or 3 laps of a 5,000 or a 10,000. He said in a marathon you have to get your head around the fact you're going to be in pain for a long time, maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. So he's been prepared for this. You know, you can psychologically gather yourself and get ready for this sort of last surge and the pain you're going to hold on to for 20 minutes.
And it's interesting because I always wonder if it's more of a physical or mental challenge, and it marries the two. They go hand in hand.
And it was really a challenge of patience for him, because there was a great degree of patience for him not to go out earlier. But then once he got within that last 4 or 5 miles and realized that he could probably roll down 430 miles continuous, then he took off. So often they say the marathon is patience followed by destruction, and we're seeing the destruction that Galen Rupp is wreaking on the rest of the field right now.
You think he was underestimated?
No, I think we all looked at him and thought that he's going to do great things.
No, I mean his fellow runners.
I think they were just kind of lulled into the early pace, and they were just taking advantage of the fact that, hey, we're not having to work that hard this. But I think anyone who wanted to win should have re-altered their game plan, because when you have a guy that's that fast on the track, running that easy for so long, he's going to beat you 10 times out of 10 over the last couple miles.
And what is this doing for American running and the style of training? Is there a special style of training happening here?
Well, no, but you know, the USA is a country of 300+ million people. There's great resources here financially. You have these fabulous training squads dotted around the country. After Kenya and Ethiopia, the USA is undisputed world #3 power in distance running. And actually, with Galen leading the charge and a bunch of guys having a good run today, like Chris Derrick, you know, there's reason to believe that they can start penetrating that top 2. The East Africans have really enjoyed this dominance for 20 years and more, but the USA is still a growing force.
Right,
15 years.
right
it's
now.
been 15 years since an American man won this race.
2002.
Khalid Kanuchi.
Khalid
the great.
Kanuchi.
And Khalid was a great champion, you know, 4 times a champion. He knew this course. Galen hasn't run here before, but his dad's from town.
Maywood.
He'll have a rough idea of the
He
town.
likes Chicago. This has got to feel good for his dad. You're right. His dad is from Maywood. He used to come here all the time in summers. He said
Chicago.
to visit family. He loves Chicago. It's got to feel pretty good for him to.
Galen's wife and kids are here. A bunch of family here apart from them.
And let's remember, this is only his 4th marathon.
That is
right?
amazing,
He
right?
started with
Sky's
the
the
Olympic
limit.
trials, went to the Olympics where he was the bronze medalist, 2nd at Boston, and then his first victory, provided he holds on, which he is going to here at the Bank of America Chicago Marathon.
This is
Unbelievable.
so exciting to
Unbelievable.
see. I have to
I love
say.
it.
Product of Portland, University of Oregon, which has such a storied track tradition. He's taken that track background and really translated it. That does happen. Is this going to be like the new path? Just like Tirunesh Dibaba, she's had an amazing track background. Is this sort of the new path, or is it a typical path?
The world's
to
top
marathons?
marathon runner has a wonderful track pedigree, Eliud Kipchoge. You can look at Haile Gebrselassie, Paul Tergat, the great legendary characters. They all come from a track background. Paula Radcliffe spent probably 15, 20 years doing her apprenticeship on the track before she took up marathon running. And guess what? She was a great marathon runner. So I think the more complete, more consistent marathon runners come from a track background.
And that makes
You know
sense.
what as I was doing my research for the race, in his three marathons, he's finished 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and obviously
Now
we're thinking here
potential
first again.
Yeah.
That's unbelievable.
Astonishing. And he doesn't get the credit for what he's achieved over these last 10, 12 years. His consistency is quite remarkable. I guess because when he comes to major championships in the track, he doesn't win so often. He gets medals. He gets second, third, fourth. He's got an Olympic silver medal from 2012 over 10,000 meters. He's got an Olympic bronze medal now from Rio in the marathon. He doesn't get the credit, I guess, because there's always somebody who's in the limelight ahead of him.
But the folks ahead of him, people like Mo Farah, who he trains with, who are exceptional as well. I think it's great. It's exciting to see him. I know, Siaka's like, you know something. It's so exciting to see him at this marathon level. Road racing, I mean, the difference between track and road racing, and making that transition, it's great to see him.
He actually doesn't train with Mo anymore. You know what? He lives 5 miles from the Nike campus in Portland. He says he runs to the track for a warm-up, does a track session, and then runs home. Now that is going to be a 20-mile block at least. And he's been doing 110 miles a week in training with another 15 miles on an underwater treadmill. This treadmill can move at a really fast pace. It can move at up to 5 minutes per mile tempo, which is pretty much race tempo for these guys. So he gets those extra miles under his belt, but actually without the same pounding that you'd get on the road.
So is this sort of that Nike magic happening? I know it's because the Nike Oregon Project and Alberto Salazar, they're working together. I mean, is technology entering
I think it's a
deeply into this now, the training process
technology
now?
And his talent, right?
Absolutely. It's throwing everything he possibly can, and this is where Salazar is so thorough. He leaves no stone unturned. He will try everything that is legal, and an underwater treadmill is great if you've got the money to go and buy one. I mean, how many people have?
Right, and an altitude chamber in your home and running. I mean, these are amazing tactics, but they appear to be paying off as it relates to Galen Rupp.
Ed, you've been in American distance running for 40 years. Have you ever seen an underwater treadmill? I've never even seen one.
I have seen an underwater treadmill.
How many are there in the USA?
Well, the underwater treadmills that I've seen are more for rehab purposes, not for running fast. They're for people who are coming off major leg injuries, and they get in and they gradually walk. But what he has is at a totally different level. And what an amount of work that this young man has done to put himself in this position right now. He's making one of the final turns. He's got a couple more turns to go. And he has just blown this field away, running consecutive 430 miles over the last little bit. He's got less than 400 meters to go now as he runs up the last little incline. He waited, he was patient, and then when the time came, 430 miles, one after the other, to completely obliterate this field.
Do you know what? It's many, many years since any World Marathon major was won by a non-African-born athlete. This is a legendary day for the sport of distance running, and it will raise so much hope in the hearts of non-African athletes, actually, that they can be challenged, they can be beaten. The Africans have played into his hands today. I don't think they've run that smart a race. They haven't really tested him over the marathon distance. They've tested him over 8 miles, maybe, and over that sort of distance, Galen's probably the best in the world.
It's exciting to see.
So your conjecture is somebody should have taken the lead and pushed him earlier to test him.
The trouble is they've all got different managers. They all come from different training camps. You don't get a team effort from anybody these days in the world of distance running. You know, it's a selfish sport. You train on your own. You do everything for yourself. You take the money home to your family.
And here he comes.
He can look over his shoulder all he wants. He's not going to see anybody because he's doing that work.
And this is, I think, the coming of age of Galen Rupp. This is not an Olympic trials domestic race. This is an international race of the very highest order. The world record holder was in this race for the marathon and the half marathon. They've been blown away by this man.
There he goes. There's the mayor right there at the finish line to win it, to cheer him on. Galen Rupp, an American, the first American to win the Bank of America Chicago Marathon since 2002, and Khalid. Amazing win, amazing run.
History here today in Chicago.
And a personal best for Galen there, too, to boot. I reckon that was about 2:09:20 unofficially.
That beats him.
And he's got his wife and kids there meeting him.
30 seconds better, yeah.
Yes,
than he did in
30 seconds
Boston.
better. Wow, congratulations. And here's Abel Karui, last year's champion.
And do you know what? We're criticizing, I guess, we're being hypercritical of one or two of the African athletes who might have challenged earlier, but Abel Karui has looked really tough and strong. That's a great attempt to defend and retain his title.
That just tells you how strong Galen Rupp was and his style of race.
And they were moving. They were going at it at a 2:12 pace or so early on.
2:12 pace for a long time.
And Abel's still dancing.
Abel wants
despite being second, he's still dancing.
Number 1 and number 2.
Impressive.
That's Bernard Kipyego from Kenya in third place.
He did it.
He did it. Wow. An American win. Khalid Kanuchi. That's a long time to wait.
I have a feeling it won't be 15 years till the next time.
And Khalid will be amongst those punching the air as well. He'll be celebrating that as well.
Oh, the kiss for daddy.
Priceless.
Kiss for daddy.
That is worth the pain.
How sweet.
3.
I assume it's daddy. I assume. That's wonderful. Great to have your family there at the finish line.
Means everything.
Oh, absolutely.
Means everything.
And there's his coach,
Alberto Salazar, right there.
Salazar.
Very emotional.
This is huge for his program.
Emotional.
Look at him. He's a wow. Gotta be.
But that was a masterful run from Galen. I've just worked out his second half. He ran 65.49 at halfway with that pack. I reckon his second half was 63.30, with most of the hard running coming in the last 10K. So, you know, again, we tend to say track speed doesn't matter in marathons because it's such a test of strength, but they reduced it to a test of track speed today because Galen's leg speed, when he kicked away, they just couldn't match it. I mean, Kirui tried desperately, looked strong,
he did
put up a little bit of resistance, but that was masterful dominance from Galen.
He really ran within himself. You know, it's going to be exciting when the time comes when he gets in a race. That is a paced race, maybe a London or whatnot, to see exactly how fast he can go.
That'll be his one point of frustration, is that he hasn't come out today with the time he wanted to reflect his hard work and his fitness. He'll have to wait. He'll have to wait for a spring race, I guess. You know, one of those flat, fast courses, be it London, Rotterdam. Maybe he'll go back to Boston. Who knows? He'll want to go to Boston, I guess.
And he had said that he came here to run fast. He wanted to run with guys who...
He wanted to win, too. He did want to.
But again, the personality of the race just was not a fast race. And so he took the win.
And there's Tirunesh Dibaba. She is leading with the women, as expected. And you called both of them here, Tim. We believe. We're not going to.
Well, I don't think it was rocket science that Tirunesh was going to win. And actually, many people were saying Galen was going to win as well, which he did. And frankly, I think Galen would have probably won however the race had panned out.
You think so?
I think so. I think he was ready to run 2 or 3 minutes quicker than that.
He seems to be peaking at the right time here.
But Tirunesh now is just trying to hone in on Paula Radcliffe's course record of 17:18. That's her goal.
She looks good.
Yeah, once she lost Kosgei, she has been running on her own, checking her watch on occasion, but just in a very, very good rhythm.
It's been an exciting race.
Do you guys think she's checking her watch constantly, or?
She just did.
Yeah.
I'd be surprised, but if she is, then it just shows how dialed in she is. You know, she knows what sort of splits she wants to be hitting. Maybe she's checking those kilometer times, those 5K splits. She's a very, very smart cookie, is Tirunesh Dibaba. She speaks pretty good English, but in a press conference, she refuses to use it.
She's saving that energy. Let's go out to Carrie Tullison to get her impression of what Tirunesh Dibaba is doing right now. Carrie.
Yeah, it's getting loud here. They had an exciting finish with Rupp, it sounds like. But Tirunesh, she is looking at her watch. But I think she's looking at her watch to see how much left she has to go. I don't think she's really concerned about the time now. I think she's more concerned about this win. And we've heard that Jordan is about a minute and a half behind, still having an amazing day. But Tirunesh just looks so smooth right now. She has, like I said, her eyes have been down on the road the entire way. She really hasn't had anyone to look around at in the last, I don't know, 6 miles or so. But she looks good, well within herself. She's so excited to be able to run. Her son is here. He's just over 2. And she's a mom now, and she said she's really excited about focusing now on the marathon, not focusing on the track anymore. And I think that we can clearly see that this marathon distance is right up her alley. She looks so smooth, like we said all along. But once she made that move, you guys, it was over, and it was all Tirunesh Dibaba.
Well, this is the sort of dominance she's used to. And, you know, to her credit, while on the track, we used to see her sprint to gold many, many times at Olympic and World Championship level. she's also capable of front running as well. I like the fact that she's a complete runner. She doesn't mind pushing the pace hard and going from the front. And there's not many people who can do that. Plenty of people can sit in and sprint past rivals. Not many can actually push a pace for a long time. This has been a great run from Jordan Hasse, by the way, who was on about 2:20.15 tempo at 35k. She's a little way down, but she's still looking pretty strong for me, and she's heading possibly here for the fastest ever American time, Ed, on this course.
Well, yeah, that time was by Joan Benoit Samuelson back in 85. 2:21.21, and she's well under that time right now if she can hold that together. Again, she's kind of running on her own as well, and we see Dibaba now with 800 meters to go is going to be in the 2:18 and change pace, which she said she wanted to run fast here. You know, her personal best is 2 hours, 17 minutes, and 56 seconds, so it's going to be a little bit off of that, but still a very, very fast time on a very good day of running.
So everybody trying to accomplish their own goals today, if you will, in a way.
And here we see Galen Rupp getting some congratulations from folks right here at the finish line. Really happy to see an American winning the Chicago Marathon. What a thrill for him. What a great day. And for all the folks here, a lot of the fans, you always want to support a hometown favorite.
No, and Galen today has won his first international marathon, and Tirunesh is going to win her first marathon. She's finished third and second, I think, in her previous 2 marathons, and this will be a massive win for her, and again another clocking under 2:20.
Yeah, that first win has to feel sweet.
Again, another example of an athlete with a great track pedigree, perhaps the best track pedigree in the world, transitioning successfully to the marathon and being able to use that track speed over the last half of this marathon.
You know what we tend to forget when we see these athletes running, because they're doing all the hard work today for a couple of hours, is the teams behind them. So the husband of Tirunesh Dibaba is a fellow called Sileshi Sihine, who used to be called Mr. Silver. He got Olympic silver medals in 2004, 2008. Then he retired. He's the main support behind Tirunesh here. So somebody's looking after baby back at home. Somebody's keeping the house going. Somebody's paying the bills. Somebody's doing all this stuff. So these are like the point of a spear of these athletes. Behind them, there's a massive group of people who have contributed to these performances.
And in her case, somebody who understands what she's going through clearly. And that has to help.
And same for Galen, and we're assuming his wife as well.
Absolutely.
And she has made the final turn and now headed for home and glory.
Tirunesh Dibaba, 32 years old, from Ethiopia. Several world records and Olympic medals.
Babyface destroyer, right?
That's what Tim calls her.
That's what she did today.
That's her nickname. She's not going to get the time that she wanted, and in fact, it's going to be just outside her personal best of 2:17.56. But it has, as we expected, been a day on which she has delivered dramatically with a fabulous second half.
So fast. Wow. Beautiful.
Back in winning ways on the new surface, and she said she is absolutely committed to marathon running now. She is done with track. Galen says he's going to carry on running on the track, but Dibaba here says no, she is absolutely finished with track. She's a marathon runner proper, and surely for her now, after this win in a big time around 2:18.5, her next goal has to be zoning in on that world record.
She doesn't even look tired.
No.
And with her
possible?
And with her track credentials, she certainly is going to have a shot at that world record, given the right conditions. What a great race, powerful race, dominating race.
Wow.
Tirunesh Dibaba.
Amazing athletes.
Still baby-faced, still destroying them.
Yeah, it absolutely is. Is it more difficult to break away from the pack and run by yourself and the challenges that represents, or to have somebody pushing you?
That's a good feeling to have, I tell you that much, is when you are able to do that. I'm not sure. If it's for fast times, it's always nice to have someone right there with you until at least the last 5 or 6 miles, just helping break the wind, whatnot. And so the fact that she was able to do that on her own, and now we see Bridget Kosgei making that turn. She was the last running partner for Tirunesh Dibaba until she finally got dropped. She's held things well together, and Jordan Hasse should be right behind her. Still running a very good time is Bridget Kosgei. Will be running just a little over 2 hours and 20 minutes.
This is going to be a massive personal best.
4 minutes off her personal best.
She's going to take over 4 minutes off her PR of 2:24.45 from Lisbon in October last year, exactly a year ago. She ran 2:24 in Portugal. Well, today she's going to run under 2:21. And she hung on very doggedly. She was determined to hang on to the coattails of Dibaba for a long, long time.
2:20.22, I think.
Wow, that is a quick second place time.
Fantastic time. Maybe one of the fastest second place time. Now here comes Jordan Hasay. The time that she would need to win to be 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 21 seconds to get that American course record time. And I think she's going to get it.
All right.
Well, she's chasing Joni's time of 2:21.21 from 1985. What, 32 years old?
She is pushing.
She's got it.
She is pushing.
Just under 2:21. I think it's 2:20.58, 59. That's a new American course record, beating the old American course record of Joan Benoit Samuelson, 2 hours, 21 minutes, and 21 seconds. Congratulations, Jordan Hasay.
That is an astonishing run. And you know what? She spent about, the last hour running on her own?
Yes.
That is a tough way to do it. It's one thing if you're out in the lead because the adrenaline is pumping. Right. You know you've got a big win coming at you. But to have been dropped means you have hit the straps, you have hit your maximum, and you still had to hang on. So that makes it a tougher run.
She looks like she's hurting a little bit there, but she pushed hard in those last few meters.
And a nice 2-minute PR for her as well.
That's right. All right, we're going to take a break for just a moment. We'll be back and talk to our champions. More from the 2017 Bank of America Chicago Marathon in just a few minutes.